Thanks for having me. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So as John said, I'm one of the co-founders of Main Street. We have 21 offices up and down the East Coast, about 200 employees. Do about 4,500 loans a year, so we're small but mighty, as we say. So I started my career, I was a stockbroker in New York City out of college. And I cut my teeth by cold calling people at home in 1996 and asking them if they were gonna buy stock. And I loved that job. And they gave me a objection book. So if someone said something, I would immediately flip over the page and then I would say, oh, now say this, or I gotta talk to my wife first, or I gotta do this, right? All those kind of things. I don't know why I did that. So I loved that job, and I worked in the World Trade Center every day. And I left 9 months before those planes hit that building to chase a girl to Northern Virginia. So I try not to take life too seriously after that day, but I learned a lot in that job. How many in here have ever had formal sales training? Right? Usually usually what I get, like it's like a couple people will raise. I was in a formal sales training program for almost a year and a half. So they were teaching me a lot about sales. And I always find it interesting because even on the mortgage side, we're selling the biggest asset of somebody's life and the biggest debt normally of somebody's life. And we really haven't had a lot of sales training in this job. We kind of learn as we go, we kind of build relationships and so forth. So I find that to be interesting. So I do support our loan officers and real estate partners with classes that I think you guys can utilize immediately in your day-to-day jobs. And I think you'll find this class to be fun, it's engaging. I have 3 kids. I have a 23-year-old son who has his own AI automation company that helps teams and individuals and small businesses adapt AI to their days. He's 23. I have a newly 21-year-old son who is in his 2nd year of electrical trade school to be an electrician. And then I have a soon-to-be 19-year-old daughter who's just came home yesterday, finished her 1st year at JMU in Virginia. So I'm in Northern Virginia. So fun fact about my daughter is I tell everybody this, she was a professional ballerina since she was 13 years old until just last year, until she decided to go to school. So she lived in New York City for about 40% of her life during high school, which is crazy. So I know way more about ballet than most men should know. I've seen my fair share of it, but I still originate loans. So I got in this business. I answered an ad in the Washington Post for a phone sales rep at a mortgage company in 2001, and that's kind of how I started. And it was all the phone stuff, so which I was really good at in New York, because that's kind of what we did. We cold called people, and so I did really, really well with that. And here we are, fast forward, and I put numbers up there. I've closed over 1.3 billion in my career. And I don't say that to be egotistical. I say that because a lot of what I teach and what I talk about, I use every day. We go over it with our loan officers as well, and I think it's going to help you just be better at your jobs and better at conversion. That's my daughter. So if you didn't think I was lying, that is her. So I kind of start a lot of my classes off with there's a lot of money being put into, billions of dollars are being put into financial technology with the one goal of eliminating the traditional loan officer and the traditional real estate agent, right? They're making a huge bet that realtors and loan officers are going to be transactional more than they are relational. And if it is transactional, then they can do it for free or cheaper, right? And I think that, you guys coming into a class like this tells me that you want to be more of a relational person and you want to build your business using relationships. These types of companies are really putting more and more money into that to avoid it. We've been told for 20-something years that sooner or later, like, make your money while you can in mortgage, because sooner or later it's just going to be done with a computer or a robot or whatever, right? And we're getting to that age where, everyone's got some sort of AI they're using in their life right now, and there's even the clients are starting to now use it, especially on the mortgage side. So the one thing I like to do is like, if we're this much under attack, and the reason why I teach class like this also is because you are like the tip of the iceberg for the real estate business. It all starts with everybody in this room, okay? If you don't convert a lead to a client, loan officers don't have a mortgage, title companies don't exist, homeowners insurance doesn't exist, home inspectors don't exist. All of your tradespeople that you have on standby, if you need them, they struggle too. So we try to invest time to help you convert more of your leads into closings, okay? Because that's how we survive. So what you're gonna learn today is a lot of you have taken a disc test, okay? So this is gonna be similar to this, but it's gonna be something that you're going to be able to, literally, it's 100% focused on what you guys do every single day. So we want to identify each client, referral partner, coworkers, personality type, and our own. There will be a sheet in front of you that you'll fill out here midway through, and it's gonna tell you who you are, okay? And there's no arguing the fact of who you are. You are who you are, okay? You can't change who you are. There's no right or wrong answer. And then we're all gonna learn about each other. We're all gonna raise our hand and say, this is me, when I start calling it out, okay? Now, the other thing is we want to adopt a sales style and a management style, if anyone in here has a team, to close the most sales personally, okay? And then the last one is to retain more clients. So, I like to start off this class with a little video. Has anyone seen Tommy Boy? Okay. Hopefully this volume works. Is there a volume on the TV?
There should be.
There you go.
Richard, do I have a mark on my face? It really hurts.
Nope, nothing. I thought I hit you on the shoulder.
My shoulder doesn't hurt very much, but my face does. Right here. Not here or here so much, but right here.
Nope. Ship shape. Waitress, can I get that shrimp cocktail I saw in the glass case?
Yep. And you, what can I get? Jesus, what happened to your face?
I knew it. Pop chicken wings.
Kitchen's closed until dinner. Just got cold stuff and desserts.
Boy, some chicken wings really hit the spot. You sure it's closed?
Let me check. Yep, it's closed.
Okay. I'll just have a sugar packet or two. Hey, what's your name?
Helen.
That's nice. You look like a Helen. Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman. Let's say I go into some guy's office. Let's say he's even remotely interested in buying something. Well, then I get all excited. I'm like, Jojo, the Indian circus boy with a pretty new pet. The pet is my possible sale. Oh, my pretty little pet. I love you. So I stroke it, pet it, and massage it. I love it. I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty. And then I take my naughty pet and I go. Oh! I killed it! I killed my sale! That's when I blow it. That's when people like us have got to forge ahead, Helen. Am I right?
God, you're sick. Tell you what, I'll go turn the fryers back on and throw some wings in for you.
Hey, thanks, Helen. Tell me likey. Tell me what wingy.
Did that board of the head knock something loose?
What are you talking about?
That 180 you just pulled at the waitress. Why can't you sell like that?
I was just having fun. If we didn't get the wings, so what? We still got that meat lover's pizza in the trunk.
Hey, you got the wings because you were relaxed, so you had confidence. And that's what it takes to sell. Confidence. Your dad had that. Why do you always have to deep turd these things?
My dad was smart. I'm not.
Very true. But there's two types of smarts. Book smarts, which waved bye-bye to you long ago, and there's street smart, the ability to read people. And you know how to do that, just like your dad. He was the best at knowing what people wanted to hear and what people needed to hear. That's what selling is all about. In a way, these people are buying you, not just brake pads.
Hey, everybody. It's Tony Robbins.
I always offer, do you want to just watch the rest of it and get your CE? It's obviously meant to be funny, but I love the takeaways that were in that one little scene there. Two types of smarts, and you're going to come up against this, and this is going to be you as well. You have people that are just straight book smarts, and then you have your street smarts people who have an innate ability to read the room, right? Understand what's going on in the situation and adapting to that, right? In the street smart side. He also said he knew what people wanted to hear and what people needed to hear, which is an art form. And then the last one is, as you guys know this, the people are buying you, right? Every one of these loan officers in here, we all have the exact same license, okay? We've all passed the exact same test. You guys did the same thing when you got your real estate license, okay? Right? You may have different designations and different experiences and so forth. However, they are buying you, right? They already know you're a real estate agent, right? So they already know we're loan officers. So those are the things that we talk about. They have to buy us first, right? And that's what he's talking about here. And why it's a zoo is because at the end of this class, you are each going to be named an animal, okay? And that's who you are, okay? Now, most of us in our business are promoted in my business. When I had my first job in management, it was because I was a top producing loan officer. So my manager said, hey, you should be a manager. You're a top producer. You should be one. Now, just because I am good at sales or I was a top producing loan officer, does that automatically make me a good manager? No, right? And so what ended up happening is that I kept spending all my time and energy telling all these loan officers to do it exactly the way I do it, because that's how I was successful at it. And what ended up happening is that more and more of them, we were starting to step away. This was uncomfortable. I don't like to speak like he speaks. I don't like to make the phone calls like he does. I don't like to write emails like he does, right? And yet I'm pushing them to do this because they tell me they want to do more loans, and I'm telling you how I did it, right? And I ended up having a revolving door of loan officers. People would leave. They would go somewhere else. No different than you've heard the old saying, people don't leave companies, they leave management, right? So I had to reverse that and try to really figure out what was going on inside of these loan officers to figure out what really was it to make them tick, okay? And that's the thing that really pushed it. And then I started moving that into my client experiences as well. So most of us sell the way we like to be sold too. We've all had great selling experiences, right? You bought a car sometimes, and you've been almost everywhere. You probably bought a car. And there were times where I bought one, and that salesperson and I just do not click. Like it's just uncomfortable. It's not feeling great. I don't like it. Even though I want one, I'm not gonna buy one, and I walk out. And then there's times where I've had an experience with a car person, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. We're like totally gelling. Like this is awesome. I'm 100% gonna buy from you, right? And it's the same thing in our worlds too. We've all had great client experiences, great sales experiences, and there's probably a couple that were like, this doesn't feel right. It just didn't feel good. And what was that? So during this class, I want you to start thinking about your current clients that you're dealing with right now, your previous clients that have closed in the last few months, and think about that, and think about what that experience was like. And then I want you to think about maybe a listing appointment that you went on and you didn't get it. They went with somebody else. What happened in that conversation? Or a transaction that did close and it just didn't feel right, didn't go well, right? So those are the things I want you to think about as we go along, because I want you to start thinking, what is my client telling me? Who am I dealing with right now, okay? So why it's different? Because everybody's different, okay? Right? Everyone's gonna be, on that sheet, you're gonna have your 25% of each people are gonna be one of those, okay? Which means if you are in one category, 75% of your clients are in different ones, okay? So you're gonna have a different experience with all those types of people, and we have to, and the only way we know how to sell to them is if we know what we're walking into and what we're dealing with. So, why we have to do this is because we cannot treat and talk to people the exact same way to get the desired result that we want. It just doesn't exist, okay? And this is the same for everybody in your life, okay? And by the way, I was a social work major in college, okay? So I took a lot of psychology classes and things like that. And then someone said, you know how much a social worker makes in New York State? And I was like, no. And I said, oh, okay, I should probably go somewhere else. But I told you guys I had 3 kids, right? Does anyone have multiple children? Okay. Or I'm sure you're just like me, all your kids are exactly the same. Right? Now, they're not, right? So when I was a young parent and I had a 7, 5, and 3-year-old, right? And if I said the exact same thing to them in the exact same way, in the exact same tone, I got 3 very different results, right? Go upstairs, clean your room, brush your teeth, make your bed. If I said that to my oldest, he would negotiate. He would go, well, when I'm done with this, I'm in the middle of playing this game right now, like, can I do it later, da-da-da, right? My middle guy, very compliant, yes sir, pops right back up, goes and does it. And my daughter would say, why are you yelling at me, right? So, but as a parent, I gotta be able to move things quicker, but as a client, I can't do that, so I have to slow down. Sometimes my client consultations are gonna be 90 minutes with certain personality types, some are gonna be 15, okay? And it's just gonna be depending on that person. But if I only sell the way I like to be sold to, I could be losing a significant part of my business. Does that make sense? Okay. Today's themes. If I sell the way I like to be sold, I could be losing 50 to 75% of my sales. If I market the way I like to be marketed to, I could be losing 50 to 75% of my market. And the old saying, if I always do what I've always done, I'll always get what I've always gotten, right? Which is a very, very true statement. So, final theme, it depends, okay? I have loan officers that call me all the time. In fact, just this morning, I was in the hotel room and someone called me and said, hey, I need your advice on something. And he was asking me what he would do, what I would do with this one client that he's having a problem with, okay? They're shopping around different lenders, he can't get them to settle into one, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, tell me more about the client. Like, what's going on? Why are they moving? You couldn't even tell me, right? Couldn't tell me anything, really. It just all came down to price. And if it becomes down, just like anything, if you start with price, it's automatically gonna be too high, right? If I sat down with you and you were gonna list my house and said, before you come in, I just wanna know what your commission is. Jake, that's like the worst question you guys can get asked, right? Same as us. What's the first thing? Before I talk to you, I wanna know what your rate is, right? We don't wanna be judged on that. We wanna be judged on our experience and the things that we provide and the value that we give, right? So we have to figure out what to do that. But most of the times, he couldn't tell me what was really going on. It just became about price. And therefore, it's now gonna be, we call it, in our business, it's called concessions. We just keep cutting and cutting and cutting until they say yes. And then we never feel good about it after. Right? Okay, so 4 types of personalities, okay? This is what I call the BOLT system, B-O-L-T, okay? And it stands for bulls, owls, lambs, and tigers, okay? So those are gonna be our 4 animals. 25% of people are East. They have one predominant personality type, and then you will have a blend of 2, which will be your blend. You may have a blend of 3 or 4, we'll see. That doesn't mean you have multiple personalities, by the way. Okay? But this is going to tell you 2 things about yourself and your clients. 1, how assertive they are, okay? And 2, how much emotion they display, okay? Except for anger. No one wants to work with angry people. So those are the 2 things. And then, but to know this, we have to know what ours is as well, okay? So when I look at this chart, this is gonna tell me on the top left corner, there, you're gonna have the assertiveness line. Everybody in the top left side is gonna be your ask-oriented, not bossy, least assertive people, all the way to your tell-oriented, very bossy, most assertive people. And then you're gonna have your emotional line that's gonna be on the left-hand side, up and down. Down here, you're gonna have your super high emotion, super social people, all the way to your not very low emotion, not very social people, okay? And there's no right or wrong, okay? We all like everybody in here, but this is what it looks like. And like I said, you may be a blend of a bull and an owl. You may be a blend of an owl and a lamb. You may be an off-the-chart tiger, okay? And then we're gonna realize really quickly who is our toughest close, okay? Because depending on what your scores will look like, will tell us where your big trouble spots are gonna be. Okay, where you're gonna get a little uncomfortable and where that sale is gonna feel a little weird and your conversion levels are probably gonna be on the lower side with those individuals. But we don't wanna close 25 to 50% of our leads conversion. We wanna close 75 to 80%, okay? Maybe even 90, right? Just like the old saying, like I don't wanna talk to 100 people and close 3. I wanna talk to 10 people and close 9. Like that's what I wanna focus on. So, let's talk about the first one, which is the owl, okay? The owls are your perfectionists, okay? They write perfect contracts, okay? Every I is dotted, every T is crossed when it comes to an owl. It's gotta be perfect for them to buy a house. They are lower risk takers, slower decision makers. They say less words per minute than any other personality type. So if you're a talker in here, right? And you're not getting a lot of feedback on the other end of that phone call or in person, you're like, you're so quiet, right? Probably an owl. They have tone quality. They don't have a lot of inflection in their voice. So they speak very monotone when they speak to you, okay? They have a system for everything and they write in paragraphs. So, if you ever open up your phone and you have an email and you're going like this, and you're going, oh my gosh, like, and you're just going like this because the email is like a book, it's probably an owl, okay? So, however, it's 25% of your clients, don't forget that. Some of you in here may be owls, we'll find out here in a second, okay? So, think about owls as accountants, CPAs, engineers, research attorneys, right? Things like that are normally where owls kind of thrive in those type of careers because they're very detail oriented, like a lot of data, like a lot of information, they're data processors, okay? So if you're like on the complete other side of the spectrum where you're not so much into the details, this is gonna be a really tough client for you because they expect details, okay? This is also gonna be the client that if they send you a question and you send an answer back, and then they send you another question, and you send an answer back, and there's another one, you're in this like whole, you're like, oh my gosh, what did you do on the phone, right? But it's because you're not giving them enough information. You cannot give an owl too much information, ever, okay? So if you like to bullet point, move quickly to people, really, really tough sell for you. The lamb, right? The lambs are the kindest people on the face of the planet. Everybody loves the lamb. Okay, because the lamb loves everybody, okay? They're pleasers. They're literally built to please others. That's what they want to do. They want to make other people happy. They want to bring joy to everybody that they come in contact with. This is not a business transaction when you sell a home to a lamb. This is their home. This is where they make memories. This is a very, very emotional experience. It's already emotional, but this is way more emotional for a lamb, okay? Slower decision makers, high cancellation rates. So these are the clients that you will sell the same house to over and over again when they're under contract. You ever do that? Right? Because all of a sudden something happens at the home inspection, they're like, I don't know. You're like, no, we got you, get back in there, right? And you're constantly pushing them back in because they want to back out, okay? High cancellation rate, high buyer's remorse, and they will prey on everything, okay? So those are your lambs. Your bulls, as you can imagine, your bulls are your controllers. Okay? Fast decision maker, highest risk takers, they're bottom line people, just get to the point. Okay? Business first and foremost, that's what you want. Okay? This is a business transaction 99% of the time for a bull. Okay? It's not like they're not like nice people or they can't be friends with you after this, things like this, but this is a business transaction to a bull. And if you're a paragraph writer, if you're an owl in this room and you like to give people a lot of detail, they don't appreciate it. So you're wasting your time, okay? Because they don't want it. They just want you to give them the numbers, the facts, the information in bullet point, okay? So those are your bulls. And then the last one, these are the tigers, okay? The tigers are your fun and exciting people, okay? They have the most enthusiasm of everybody. They love social settings. They love to meet new people, okay? Highest risk takers, impulsive, they tend to go through money quickly as clients, and we call them our drama queens and kings, okay? You ever hear anybody that says, oh my God, I hate drama? And you know, when you say I hate drama, you 100% love drama, right? So that's your tigers, okay? So those are our four. Now, then you're gonna have a chameleon, like I mentioned to you earlier. Yes, that's you? You're a chameleon? Okay. So, if 3 or 4 of your numbers come in within 5 points of each other, you are probably a chameleon, which means that you have a pretty easy way of going in and out and talking different personalities the way it just comes very, very naturally to some people. Some people are off the chart on one section. Okay, too. It just means we have more work to do on the other sides when we're talking to somebody else. Okay? All right. Products have has a personality too. So what does each animal like their new home to be? And this is, by the way, this is not 100% accurate, it's like guaranteed. This is gonna give you a tip when you're walking into a critical selling situation, okay? What I call a critical selling situation is anytime you get to tell somebody what you do for a living, okay? That is a critical selling situation. If you're sitting there and we're on an elevator together and I see a name tag and it says realtor on there, I'm like, oh, what's the first question I'm gonna ask you? How's the market, right? Just like if I said to you, I'm a mortgage person, what are you gonna ask me? What are rates doing, right? Imagine if I was like, how should I know? I mean, well, they can go up or down, right? Do I sound really confident? No, right? But again, you're in a critical selling situation at that moment. You don't know if that person who just asked you if you're a real estate agent, asked you how the market was doing, you have no idea if they're about to sell their house, or move, or something's going on, or they have a friend. This is a huge opportunity for us, right? Now, when I'm selling a home to a bull, bulls tend to like something that's more striking, impressive. Owls, they like things that are practical, efficient, functional, because they're organizers. Everything in an owl's house is perfect, okay? Your lambs, something warm that feels nice, right? They wanna anticipate what their life will look like here with their kids and the dog and the in-laws, right? And Christmas time, all this kind of stuff, right? That's what they want, okay? This is very emotional for them, remember. And your tigers, they just want something fun. Entertainment spaces, multiple TVs, pool table, bar in the basement, speakers in the walls, like all that kind of stuff. That's what your tigers like, okay? So when we get into a market, I don't know when it's gonna happen, where we can actually breathe a little bit and a client can actually sleep on something before they have to make an offer because there's 10 other offers. But then we don't have to waste our time at some point showing properties just because it's in the right price range. Because now you're actually dialing in what that client experience needs to be, because you already know that you're not gonna show a boring home to a tiger that you know they can't entertain, and it doesn't have something that's gonna be fun or social for them, where they could have a party and they can have people over, things like that, where we just, what about this house? No, I'm not showing you that house. Why? It's right in our price range.
There's no
Because
pool.
you're not gonna like it, right?
There's no pool.
There's no pool, there's no nothing, right? So you're not gonna like it. So and then if I was a tiger client, I'd be like, oh my God, my realtor, they get me, right? They understand what my needs are. Favorite room in the house. So where do you think a bull, who is more on the control side, where their favorite room in a house would be? Like an office, like a me room, right? Like if you walk into a listing appointment and you see like a door closed on there and there's its own computer, its own TV, its own chair, no kids, no dogs, nobody else is in here, this is my house, this is where I'm doing it, you probably have a bull that lives in that house, okay? And bulls are nice people, by the way, I'm not saying that they're not, all right? What about owls? Practical, efficient, functional, right? Kitchen, right? When you walk into a kitchen, there is no junk drawer in an owl's house, by the way, promise you that, okay? But if you open up one of their drawers, utensils, everything is lined up perfectly. You look in that pantry, everything is lined up perfectly, right? Refrigerator, you're like, oh my God, like there's nothing out of place in there, because they're organizers, okay? That's what they like. That's where owls are. You thinking about somebody or yourself?
Myself.
All right.
Fridge is a disaster.
So you're not an owl.
Always. No, I'm not an owl.
Got it. All right. What about a lamb? Where's the favorite room for a lamb?
Family room.
Right? Family room, right? Fireplace, something that's gonna be warm. All right? What about a tiger? Fun, exciting.
Pool.
Day room.
Rec room.
You guys are no fun. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Now, yeah, it would be like a basement rec room, you know, media room, you know, something that's like a gathering place where people could be social, okay? What colors do they wear, right? You guys meet people for the first time all the time. You maybe host an open house. Someone's walking up to your driveway. Start looking out there. What are they doing? How are they walking? What are they wearing? Your bulls are gonna come in black, dark brown, dark green, dark blue. Your owls are gonna be in neutrals. Your lambs are gonna be more in pastels, light gray. And your tigers are gonna be more bright colors, primary colors, and jewel tones. Again, it's not 100% perfect, but it's gonna give you a leg up when you're about to walk into that experience, okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
So it's all these slides you're showing with all these kind of like direct, you know, applications. So the chameleons, all of them, is what you're saying. They could just be a person that does wear a bright.
There's not a lot of chameleons in the world,
Sure, okay.
so you probably will find that out here soon. There might be 2 or 3 in this room, but it's not gonna be a lot, okay? But again, this isn't a perfect scenario, but based on how they're communicating with you initially, email, phone, text, right? All those kind of things, you're gonna start picking up real quickly on who you're about to deal with, okay? So, advertising, okay? You guys do marketing, maybe you do email blasts, social media, maybe mail, you know, newsletters, postcards, things like that, right? Tons of ways, put an ad in the newspaper, I don't know, right? Everyone does everything. So, bulls only care about 2 things, price and simple, okay? Show me the house, show me the price. That's all they wanna know, okay? When it comes to this. Your owls, they want a ton of details. I used to collect the advertisements I used to get in mail or email from real estate agents, because obviously it helps me with classes like this. And I would get a postcard every month from the same real estate agent, okay? Every month, and it was every comp. Like, it was just like data everywhere, right? Clearly, that realtor was an owl, okay? So, and you'll figure out what I am here in a little bit, but every time I looked at it, I was like, right? It's a lot. And they never changed it. So if you think about it, if every single time that you're marketing yourself, it's always exactly the same, and I'm not talking about your brand recognition, that can be the same. But if the content, the style, the things that you're putting into it is always the same, you're only gonna attract the same clients, okay? So sometimes, make it price and simple. Sometimes put a ton of detail in your information. Sometimes make it more warm and fuzzy and, you know, like, can you imagine yourself in this house? Your family would feel great here, right? Now you're attracting, or have something that's super exciting, a lot of exclamation points, a lot of caps, right? That's what tigers wanna see, okay? Tigers are not gonna look at something that requires a lot of reading. They're just not, okay? So anything that looks like a lot of work, tigers normally don't wanna do, okay? All right, that's who they are, okay? It's just not a lot, they just wanna keep moving fast. Same with bulls. So when you think about it, try changing it up a little bit and see what other clients you're starting to attract when it comes to your marketing. Handshake. Okay, you meet someone for the first time, what do? Shake their hand. Can I borrow you for a second? Okay, so if I am a bull, right? Bulls will shake hands like this, up, down, out, right? Firm, up, down, out. That's how they do it. Owls are gonna shake hands like this. It's so nice to meet you. I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I didn't come all the way in, because number one, I don't know you, right? Remember, I'm lower I'm lower on assertiveness, and I'm lower on emotion, okay? So we're not gonna have an interaction. So if you're like super excited to meet me and I'm an owl, I'm gonna take a step back when I shake your hand, because you're in my space, right? So your lambs will shake hands like this. They almost are underneath you, okay? Where you are getting control, okay, of it. It's almost like you're getting control. You're like, wow, I'm like, that's how they shake hands, okay? And it's, again, this is not perfect, but it's a really cool little trick to kind of think about what's going on here. Now, if you know you're meeting a lamb, you can do this. It's so good to meet you. Put your other hand on top of it, and they're gonna feel like you just gave them a giant hug, okay? Okay, because that's what they are. Remember, they're low on assertiveness, but super high on emotion. And then your tigers, if you meet a tiger, get over here. Right? So they're just so excited to meet you. Tigers love other human beings. They love meeting new people. A lot of salespeople tend to be tigers because we like to talk to a lot of people. Okay? But if I was a tiger real estate agent and you were an owl client, and I was like, oh my God, we're finally meeting, and I came here and gave you a hug, that could be a deal breaker. I'm not saying it's not that they're not nice people, it's just, it's a business transaction to them, number one, and they're super low on emotion when it comes to, they don't like a lot of high emotion. It's just not how they're built, okay? Do you ever call a client on the phone after you've been looking for 6 months, and you finally got a house, you're like, you're not gonna be, we're under contract, and they're like, that's great. You're like, what the hell? Like, aren't you excited as I am? No, they're not. It's just because that's not how they roll. That's just not how they are. So think about that. So the best advice I can give people is when you're shaking hands with somebody, try to get out of your comfort zone. I know you're gonna wanna do it the way you wanna do it, depending on your personality type, but try to be a little neutral and kind of figure out what is like, it's like a tell in playing poker or anything like that if you know cards, like what is going on. Because the more you change and make someone feel more comfortable and talk and communicate the way that best resonates with them, the higher your percentage of closing ratios will be, okay? So, emails, okay? We write, this business is full of emails. We write them all the time, it's all day long, it's constant, okay? We have to change the way we write emails to each one of our potential clients, okay? It's very important. If I'm writing a letter or an email to an owl, it's going to have a lot of detail, okay? So for example, I don't just tell an owl that we ordered the appraisal, okay? I tell an owl, hey, we ordered the appraisal, it's gonna be back in about 7 to 10 days. Once I get it back, we're gonna review it, you're gonna get a copy of it, we can review together if you like, you're gonna have plenty of time to look at it, there's gonna be everything in there. Now, because you have an appraisal contingency in your contract, if the value does not come in, here are your options. I'm putting all of this in writing. It's the same thing you would tell every client anyway, but just build it in 4 different ways. If you know you have an owl client, give them a lot of detail. Pre-write it, right? You're saying the same thing 95% of the time to the clients about what's going on in this stuff anyway. So I have 4 different emails that talk about ordering appraisal. 4, okay? They're all in a draft. All I do is copy and paste them and stick them out, okay? Right? To a tiger, it's like, get excited, appraisal day, right? You know, whatever. Like, I'm getting people like fired up about it. Like, this is gonna be great. Wait till we get it back, right? So, because they're excited about it. So that's what it looks like. Your lambs, first thing you do with lamb is you say something like, don't go into business first. High social, high emotion, okay? First thing you say is, I hope all is well with you and your family. You call a lamb on Monday and ask how their weekend is before you get into business and listen to it, okay? Hear about it. Thank you for stopping by. You and your family would feel right at home here. Say happy birthday to Mary from me. I hope her party's a success. If you bump into a lamb client and they're having a birthday party for their daughter, Mary, on Saturday, you better send a gift, you better do something, because you will be in there. They will love you forever if you remember stuff like that. Even just saying, how was the party? How was the soccer game? How was the lacrosse tournament? Right? Especially if you know you have a lamb, those are the things that matter to them, that you care about them as humans. It's not just a transaction, okay? I really enjoyed meeting you and your family. You're starting with family, starting with them personally, ending with them personally, okay? You could add a little bit about the transaction in the middle, but most of it is gonna be all lovey-dovey stuff. That's what they want, okay? So if you're an owl or a bull in here, I know you wanna throw up right now. Right? Writing things like warmly, right? Really nice little things that are in there, okay? Now, tigers. It was great meeting you on Thursday. What a fun time we had. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Caps, excitement. Get them excited. They're fun and exciting people. They love stuff like this, okay? Can you just imagine entertaining in that living room? Here's a copy of the shopping mall you asked for. Can you believe that game on television last night? What a game! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Right? Have fun. All right? Owls, bulls, you're like, oh God, really? Okay? It's not how you normally would talk. It's okay. But this is how they want to be talked to. Okay? Bulls, there you go. Simple. Please find the information you enclose it respectfully. Done. Okay? In fact, if you think you're a bull in here, or you have a bull client right now, you don't even need to write any of this.
Just
You
put the attachment and send.
Just put the attachment and hit send. You don't need to send anything, okay? You don't need to send anything, just fire it off. And they're not gonna go, wow, that was rude. You send this email to a tiger or a lamb, they're gonna think you're rude, okay? This is rude to them, okay? Like, who would write this way, right? If I just wrote this to if I just went down here and just wrote, hey, great seeing you, here's the information, Mike. You'd be like, is this rude? This looks rude. Is this rude? Right? And that's how they would talk. So think about that in terms of what you're saying, how you're saying it, and it'll change the way your experience is with that client. Okay, in front of you is your sheets, okay? Tigers, listen up, because this is gonna be painful. This is gonna be painful for the tigers in here. So on the top, every one of those sections is gonna have a 1 to a 4, 4 being most like you, 1 being least like you, then you're gonna add each box up at the bottom, okay? No judgment if you can use your calculators. Or so yesterday's class, once they did all the numbers, they just took a picture of it in ChatGPT and it said add it up, and it just did it in 2 seconds, so.